Okay. All right, so we're going to start with, those of you new, we start with our joints first. So we do a system called control articular rotations, and then we're going to go into some movements. Does everyone have a little hard ball or a tennis ball and a foam roller? Yes, perfect.
I don't have a foam roller. I do have a ball.
Okay, so you'll just use the roll, and then I'll give you some different ones instead of the foam roller when we get there. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's start with those articulations first. So what we want to do is we're going to stand up and we'll start from our neck and move down. So when you're working on the joints, we want to isolate the areas that we're working on. So the first one's going to be our neck. So we stand up nice and tall, plant our feet into the ground, and hands on either side. Have a little bit of a closed fist, just a little bit of tension so we can focus on that neck. The movement's going to go like this, where I bring my chin down to my chest. I rotate my head, I tilt it, and then I come around. So nice and slowly around, tilt, tuck to the center. Once we've reached the center, we're going to rotate and come back the other way. So nice and big circles. Now, if your neck feels really stiff and you don't feel right, like if I come to the right here and I'm like, oh, not quite right, just don't make it as sharp a turn. Just make little loops around like so, but if it feels good, then try and hit those angles as we come around. Okay, so this is our neck coming through here. A few, and then if you hear some cracks, that's fine. We're just getting that joint moving. So really important to have the joints moving to their full range and capacity so that we can actually hit the weights and hit the positions that we need to have a good weight, particularly, well, all movement, but you know, when we get more complex movements like our power snatch, that's what we need to have good joint movement. Good. Let's do this one a couple more times. So in your own time, find your pace. Rotate around. Down, and then finish your last loop here. So you may find the first rotation is a bit stiff and then it gets better as we go along. Next, we're going to work through the range of our spine. So the same kind of standing position. This time we're going to have our hands across our chest here. And then I'm just going to show you from the side. We're going to actually keep the hips nice and still and tuck, hinge forward. Okay, in this hinge forward position, I'm going to rotate just like the neck, tilt, come around, try and stretch as you reach back, and tilt to the center. Okay, try and have your feet a little bit wider than hip width apart here. Good, and rotate around. Reach around. So again, keeping those hips still, we've got some headlights here. We don't want them moving around, we're just getting that spine moving. And then again, if you need to make those angles a little less sharp, then do so. Finish up this last loop. Very nice. Okay. Next, we're going to go into our shoulders. Okay, so I'm going to bring, with this one, we're going to do one shoulder at a time. The range is going to be like this. I think of leading with my thumb up to the ceiling, and then my fingers come up to this point. Here, I can't really move back anymore, so I have to start to rotate from that shoulder joint around. Okay, so I think of my thumb pointing that back down to the ground now, and then I want the back of my hand coming to the side of my thigh, so I'm facing this way. Okay, and then as we go back, we push back and come around, and then I have my fingers up to that ceiling, and then I come down. Okay, so keep everything nice and still. If you're rotating your body like this to get the movement of the hand, I don't want that. I want this all nice and straight and just coming across, up, reach, down, rotate, thinking that bicep rotating around. That back of the hand comes to the thigh, and then we push back, up, and around. Good. So do a few more like that. Yeah, I'll have a look. So bring that finger up and then rotate. That's it. Start to really rotate around. Yes, nice. And then go back. Very nice, everyone. That's it. Good. All right. Let's do the other side now. So one side may feel better than the other. Perfectly normal. We all kind of favor one side of our body, so it might still bear the weight on it, so it might stiffen up a bit the joint. Reaching up, keeping still and round. That's it. Back of the hand to the side of the thigh, and then push it back. So here that's my sticking point. I can't go any further, and so from here I really have to start moving that joint to twist around and back up. Good. One more. Let's have a look. Yeah, find that point. Rotate around. Keep rotating, keep rotating, keep rotating. Yes. Good. All right, so now let's do our elbows. Palms out flat. Okay, think of rotating so that thumb is going towards the back of the room, and then bringing your hands up to your shoulders and then rotating around and down. Simple joint, not simple, but movement is less complex. So your cars become a little bit different. So all these movements that we've done at the beginning of this class today are things that you can do on your own as many times as you want throughout the day. So if you're someone that sits at the desk, you can do definitely your neck cars like we did at the beginning, so you can do those seated down, you don't have to stand up. And then definitely the spine as well, okay? And the hips, which we'll get to. All right, good. Next is our wrists. So we're gonna have one hand across holding like so. Fingers are nice and flat. And I want you to think of the midline and the outside of your body. So I want you to rotate that wrist to the center of your body. And then I want you to bring it down around to the outside and then up. Try and keep that finger straight here and then come down around. So we're making a nice little arc with our fingers here, this little U shape. Good. Great one is, again, another thing, like get stiff with that mouse if we're at the desk a lot. You know, anything kind of repetitive like that. Got to take care of those joints. Particularly if you guys remember your push presses, that barbell that you push from your shoulder to overhead in our lifter classes. And then again, when you do other movements. Good. Nice. All right, let's do the other side. So hand flat. And then think of that midline. Loop it down and around. Good. And keep that elbow attached to your side of your body here. And that will minimize any kind of movement that you're having, because we just want to isolate that wrist, right? We don't want anything happening from that elbow joint. We just want that wrist moving here. Good. All right, a couple more. Now, the next one we're going to do, we're going to lay down on the ground and we're going to come to the side of our body. So I'll show you for our hips. We can do hips standing up. It's much easier if you have something to lean against. Since we don't have that maybe at home, we're going to do the one on the floor, which we're doing for a couple of weeks now. So with this one, I'm going to lay down on the ground, okay? And then I can find whatever position feels supportive. If you've got your foam roller or a pillow, you can also just whack it in under here. And then lay down. I want the knees together. I want the feet flexed together, okay? And from here, we're gonna drive that knee up to the chest, okay? And then I'm gonna open it up with keeping contact to the ground here, okay? So don't tilt backwards. Then I'm gonna push my leg out behind, and then I'm gonna bring it up back to my knee, okay? Then I'm gonna push it back, open up in that fire hydrant position, and then come down to the center again, all right? So that's one rotation. So we're gonna come up, open up, good, push back behind, and then come to the center. I might show you a side view for those of us keep continuing. So I'm in this position, I'm driving up, opening up, pushing behind, keeping that foot the same height as my knee, and then driving to the center, and then push back, open up, oh yeah, stiff and down. Good. Do a couple more like that, and I'm gonna have a little look. Yeah, that's it. So we really want to connect that body to the ground. That's it. One more. And that knee up. Open up. Back. To the center. Push back. And also put some weight on the front here. Open up. And down. Good. All right, let's flip it to the other side. Same thing. So I'm going to lay down on the ground here. Flex the feet together and then drive that knee up to the chest. Open up. Push that knee back. Bring it right back and then drive it forward. And then push it back. Open up. And then down. Again, drive that knee up. Open. Drive back. Up. So, again, another joint that gets hammered in that seated position. Great to do these at night time before going to bed. If you have time, if it's a bit of mad rush in the morning, doing some in the morning before your class. Last one. Wrap it up. Open up. Back. And push back. Up. And over. Very nice. Okay, so I want to kind of concentrate on the spine today. So what we're going to do is going to go into our cat-cow position. So this is a position where we're on all fours here, and at the end we'll finish with the Jefferson curl, which I'll show you at the end. So we're in this position on all fours. We have our lower back and our upper back and our neck. So in this position, I'm in a neutral position, and then I want to tuck my tailbone under from here. So as if I've got a dog tail and I bring it in between my legs, and then I'm going to push each vertebrae up towards the ceiling. And then my last thing is my chin tuck. Okay, in this, what we call cat position, or camel, we're going to push our hip back. I always want to start from this bottom part, and then pull that tailbone up to the back of the wall. And then the last move is my neck up. All right, so you're going to pretty much start feeling where you're stiff and where you're not. And that's where I want you to take the time to move that joint up and down, okay, into extension and flexion. So I'm on here, let's start, tuck that tailbone under, lift that spine up to the ceiling, tuck that chin under, and then push that hips back. Think of each vertebrae moving one at a time. then that chin up. Elbows stay locked. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees under my hips. Good. And then move through this and I'll have a look at you all in your mechanics. That's it. So there are two common spots where a little bit tight. Often it's that thoracic spine, which is like the mid back at the top, and the lumbar, which starts a little bit further down at the bottom. So those ones you may find are a little bit stiff. Spend the time there, okay? If you need to go slowly, another image that I have is a little ball, or those, you know, those spirally things you pull down the stairs. So we think of each vertebrae one at a time moving like that as it moves down, up and down the stairs, or down the stairs. Back the other way. Good. All right, finish up 2 more sets. Nice. Again, a great move to do. Easy, not too demanding, but very effective if we do it as often as we can. Makes a big difference. All right. So the next move we're going to go to is more like a static stretch. Okay. So it's going to be a prayer, which is basically you've got your child's pose. So I'm in the cat, all fours, and then I push my hips back, and then I bring my hands out in front. Okay. And then I really sit my hips back. All right. So we're going to hold that position for 2 minutes. Okay, so get down onto the ground, push those hips back, try and make your arms long and extended out in front of you. Yes, good. And then you should feel a stretch in the back. Very good. So keep in that position. Now, when we're in these kind of positions, we want to relax. We don't want to force anything. We don't want anything shaking. So we want to take some nice deep breaths here and really get into the breathing and then kind of stretch. So as you take a deep breath in, you're going to fill that belly with air. And then I really want you to breathe out and try and bring the hands a bit further in front of you, and the armpits a little closer to the floor. Your forehead can stay on the ground here. We're going to breathe in. Feel the belly air, and then push the hips back a little bit further if you can. And sink a little bit deeper. Think of those elbows straight if you can. Breathe in. And breathe out. Sink. Good. Breathe in. Another 30 seconds here. And breathe out. Sink a little bit deeper. Breathe in. And breathe out. Stay now on your own breath. Yep. Stay in that position another 20 seconds. And then we're going to stay on the floor again. All right, now gradually come out of that position. Don't go too crazy, too fast. Okay, nice. The next one we're going to do is kind of for our front here, because that can pull the spine forward if we're kind of shortened in this position. And you can imagine we're in that position a lot. So we're going to lay down on the ground. Okay, we're going to have one hand out to the side at 90 degrees. And then we're going to twist our body around. Okay, so leg around. And then we should feel that in the spine. And at the same time, we should feel a stretch in the pec here. Okay, we're going to stay in this position. We're going to hold that for a minute. Okay, so let's see your position. Good. And try and bring that leg around. Yep. And again, let's just sink into this, taking our breaths again. Yeah. Don't worry if the foot doesn't touch the ground behind you, that's fine. It can be hanging in the air a little bit just because you're a little bit tight, okay? That's sometimes very normal if we're not used to this kind of position. And you can have the bent leg as well on the side of the body that's down. Good. Again, breathe in here and feel that pec stretch. Good. Couple more breaths, breathe in. And see if you can bring that foot down to the ground if you haven't yet, even flat on the ground. One more breath and breathe out. Okay, let's switch sides. You all right, surviving? Yeah, good. All right, so hand at 90, and then we're going to rotate to the other side. Okay, so feel that stretch in that pec and just hold there. Around. Flip around. There you go. Good. All right, we're going to hold that for a minute. That's it. Try and breathe here again. Get a little deeper. Twist around a bit. Sink into it. Another 20 seconds. And you may find one side felt good and the other one not so great. Like 1, 2. And let's ease out of that nice and slowly. Okay, next one we're going to go on our back. Okay, I'll show you from my foot down. So we're just laying back. Arms are outstretched. We're going to bring that leg across. You can have a little bit of a bend. Reach over to your head to the opposite side. And then we're going to dynamically move through this. So from one side to the next. So opposite side leg, head goes the other way. Okay, so laying down, I can show you from this angle. Across, I reach, and then I come across. Let's move through this for a minute. Yeah, so just keep moving in your own time across. That's it. Keep going. Yeah, this should feel quite nice. The back can come off the ground. Yeah. Moving through. And breathe. And breathe out as you reach that leg across. Let that air go. Breathe in as you're moving across and breathe out as you reach across. That's it. Around. Very nice. Keep going. 20 seconds here. A little more than a minute. Good. That's it. Nice work. Moving through. Let's finish one more on each side. That's it. Last one. Good. Very nice. Okay. So we don't have, all of us don't have a foam roller. So what we're going to do is we're going to just skip the foam roller. We're going to use, everyone has a ball. And if you don't have a ball, then you can use the foam roller. Okay, great. So with this kind of ball, we sometimes do circuits where we just kind of use that ball and hit the spots and hold them. I want to move through this a little bit. So you have at the back of your upper back, you got your shoulder blade. Okay, that's the one that moves around like this as we move our shoulders up overhead. So I want you to find that spot in just underneath that, what we call that scapula or that shoulder blade. And we're going to get on that spot. Lay down. So don't go in the middle of the spine. Go between the spine and the shoulder blade. Let me move down. So I'm laying down. Find that spot. It's quite high, and you may find you're a little bit tight in this area. And we're just going to relax down on that area like this. Okay. And then if it feels right, move down just a little bit. You can have your feet up higher. Yeah. So we want the ball a little further down. Yeah, just underneath that shoulder. Everyone find a spot that's a little tight. Yeah, you guys got it? Yeah. So here it's important where we want to kind of breathe into that, that spot. Okay, so there's on each side of the spine, there's these muscles that run along, and they can get really tight as well, and they can pull you in that, well, they get elongated and get a little bit weak. So we want to kind of hit them and stop them from being so tight. Okay, so good. Now, once that starts to feel good, you can lift your head up, hands out to the side. You can kind of roll across it. So you should feel as I move rock side to side, moving across. So if you're laying down on the ground, you could probably even do that with your head relaxed down. You don't necessarily have to lift up that head. And then if you find you can move further down because it's starting to release at the top, you do the same. So try and slide across that muscle, just slightly. Good. All right, so we're going to do the same on the other side. So move across to your other shoulder blade. Good. And then find that spot. Lay down on it. And let's take a few deep breaths here. You're going to try and relax into it. And hold that one for another 20 seconds. Keep going. Now, starting to feel good. Kind of find it and roll into it a little bit more. Across it. Horizontally across it. Good. That's it. Very nice, ladies. Keep going. Now we want to move a little further down. So we've got an area in our back, just about here, and we're going to put the ball in that area here. Okay. So again, you're going to lie on your back here. Sorry, this thing's saying, so we're going to, meeting's going to end in 10 minutes. We've got time. So put that ball in that bottom back. Now for this one, I like to have my feet up and then I bring one foot across my body. Okay. And then I've got the ball in that spot. And then I like to rotate my knee down towards the ground and come back like so. You guys feel that spot? Just thumbs up if you do. Yeah? Awesome. Okay, so this is a spot that gets super tight, especially with our deadlifts. Okay, so another one we have to, obviously bracing helps because we use the inner muscles of our core as well. But these are part of the core as well, in fact. So we need to kind of make sure they stay nice and loose. Okay. So just rock into there. Now you can also do these with a foam roller at home. It's less maybe because it's more broad an area that you're reaching with the foam roller. When that specific little ball, it may be a bit more comfortable. So if you want to, now you can move up or you can move a little further down, depending on where you feel it tight, right? And then once that find that spot, just really dig into it, rolling around into that. That's it. Good. Nice. All right, let's do the same to the other side. Find that spot again. So don't go on the spine, just to the side of it, okay? And underneath your rib, in fact, that last rib, you can get the ball in there, just underneath the last rib, and then rotate into it. Here again, you want to kind of breathe through this, kind of crazy. Breathing in. I want you to let go. Submit. That's it. Breathe. I'm going to keep going here. One more minute. And also you can stay statically. Like, so if you find a really spot that's tight, you hit the ball on it and then just sit there for 40 seconds breathing into it. And then the body and the mind will let go of that spot. Okay. Or you can actively, like we're doing now, move that knee around and roll into it. Now, if you want to change spots here again, maybe you find it's a little tighter, a bit further down or a little higher up, do so. And we're going to rock into that knee spot. So you'll often hear that term of QL being thrown around. This is the area that they're talking about, QL. Stiff back, stiff lumbar spine area. So when we do those cat cows, where we start is around this area, right? Moving that joint well, let the muscles move around as well. Okay, let's remove that ball, and then we're just going to stay on the ground here, and I'll show you from this angle. And we're just going to rotate the knee down to the center. Your back can come off a little bit for this one, and then around the other side. We'll do this for 1 minute, moving through. And then we'll stand up and we'll do what we call the Jefferson curl. Ideally, you can do a Jefferson curl on a block to get a little bit more range, but today we'll just go from our floor position. And this is just a relaxing kind of let it flop. Now, if you want to, you can let it flop even further. So let the knees come right down on both sides. Yeah. So nice. All right, 10 more seconds, and then you'll stand up. Now, be careful when you're standing up. I want you to kind of rotate to the side of the body and come around like so. Yeah, take your time. Okay, so our Jefferson curl, we're basically turning each vertebrae one at a time. You can do this off a height as well, which will get you a little bit lower. So you stand nice and tall, and then I want you to start to tuck your chin under, and think of each vertebrae moving one at a time again, like we did the cat-cow, but this time we're starting from the top. We're going to roll down, and then you're going to roll your shoulders forward, okay? And then we're going to think of each vertebrae one at a time. You can have a soft knee, you don't have to be straight. And then we're going to roll down to the ground, each vertebrae one at a time. Reach as far as you can. Hold here, take a deep breath of air in. And then as you go out slowly, come back up, thinking of each vertebrae one at a time, rolling up. Yeah, I'm gonna stay rolled over here as long as I can. And then at the end, I'm gonna lift my chin up. Okay, let's do those a couple of times, one more time. In your own time, tuck that chin down. Slow, steady is good. Down, she feels stretched in the hamstrings, the back of the legs, and the calves, and then come down. Now, some people won't be able to touch the ground. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. With time, hopefully you'll get there. Good. And then let's do one more. Tuck that down. Roll around. Down to the ground. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good. All right, everyone. I hope we're reset for the week. Yeah, good one. Yeah, so that's kind of like our joints and a little bit of movement there through the spine. Hopefully you feel good and ready to roll. Okay, guys, so yeah, I've got to make it a little shorter this time because we've changed our system with the Zoom. So that's it. Okay, have a good weekend. Happy Mother's Day, all the mothers out there.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Stop recording. Good.